Hey folks, this is Mary. Welcome back to my channel. So we are up to, what are we up to now? Day 12, I believe, of 30 Purple Ink's 30 days. So let's pick our ink of the day. All right, this one is Diamine Bilberry, and this is a bottle. So let me go grab that. Alright, here is my bottle of Bilberry. And let's get our pen inked up. Oh, and I do have to say, I used Noodler's North African Violet yesterday. And I don't know if you can see that, but it stained the converter. I cleaned and cleaned on the converter, and I used some pen flush. And it looked like there was ink still in there, but then I kind of wiped it out with a paper towel, and the paper towel came out clean. So it's just a little bit stained. So not a huge deal. I guess if it really bothers me, I can try using a little bleach water on it. But just if you use North African Violet, just use caution with a demonstrator. But if you have a solid pen like this Lamy, is a solid pen, you know, an opaque pen, then it doesn't matter. So, let's get it inked up. Did we get some ink? Yep, I think we got some ink. It's always hard to tell. That's another thing about fountain pens. When you get something to work, like when you successfully swatch a nib, or you successfully smooth a nib, or you get the ink to go up in the pen, it's just such a feeling of accomplishment. Regular pens, you know, you just buy the package, you open the package, you start writing with the pen. There's no investment in it. You know, you're not investing your time or your anything. You just open up the pen and write it. And you don't even think about it. But with fountain pens, you have to put some thought into it. Did I fill my pen? Did I clean my pen? Did I bring an extra cartridge to put in the pen? But then there are those people who don't want to have to think about their pen. They want to think about other things. So that's probably why they don't use fountain pens. So this is it's a bottle. So this is Diamine Bilberry. And I haven't investigated bilberries. I'm not sure if they are berries or if that's just a color name or what's going on with that. Let's see. Wow, that is really dark. And again, it's one of those colors that kind of straddles the line between blue and purple. But that is a beautiful color. So we will set him aside to dry. And we will do some writing. Alrighty, so let's take a little bit closer look at our writing sample. This is on the Clairefontaine paper, and this is a very, very dark purple. And I don't see any shading on the ink. And I haven't seen any sheen coming out yet, but of course we'll take a look at the sample after that dries a bit. But it's just a beautiful dark purple. And the Exceed paper. And I think on this paper it might look a little bit duller or a little bit grayer, but I think that's the paper. It's that off-white paper, that kind of yellowish paper, which I am really not a fan of. I really wish this was white paper. But other than the color of the paper, I do really enjoy these notebooks. But it just kind of changes the way the ink looks. All right, let's take a look at our sample. Well, there is certainly some sheen coming out on this swatch card. Very nice. But I didn't notice any on the writing sample. So let's take a look at the Clairefontaine again. I think that might be a little bit more likely to show some sheen. But no, I'm just not seeing any sheen on that. So it's interesting that the swatch card shows a fair amount of sheen, a decent amount of sheen, but I'm not seeing any in the writing sample. And again, a different pen, a different nib might show that better. Okay, so let's do our calendar square. All right, and I have a little skinny tape today. This is some Galaxy washi tape that I have. I'm obsessed with space. And I think I started to say in a previous video, but I never got around to making the statement that I love all things space themed. So I love Colorverse inks because they have space names, and you know, I love Galaxy washi tape like that. I'm just fascinated by space. And I love stargazing. I don't have a telescope, and I live in a more urban area, so I wouldn't be able to view anything with a telescope anyway. But there are some amateur astronomy clubs in the area that do have stargazing nights where you can go look through a telescope. You know, just go to they usually go to a place a bit more out in the country where there isn't so much light pollution. But I find it all very interesting. And I love science fiction, which usually has some grain of truth to it. Oh, wait, that piece is not going to work right there, so we're going to put it up here. Now, do I want to go to Mars? Do I want to be on one of the first, what do you call it? What's a non-astronaut? One of the first civilians. Do I want to be on the first civilian ship to Mars? No, I don't. I don't really want to go live on Mars. I like Earth pretty well. All right, so let us do our swatch. I love looking at pictures of Mars, though. I'm always fascinated when they send another rover out there. Or when they, you know, send any kind of probe out into space. I find it all fascinating. Wow, that is a beautiful dark color. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Boy, that is really wet. Ooh, can you see that? I feel like I've been swabbing them on pretty heavily, but that one just seems especially wet. Let's just check the back side here. Oh, so far so good. So our only big bleed through problem so far has been the Solferino. So let's look at some comparisons. Now I feel like I have a lot of darker inks, so let's get out some comparison cards and see if that's actually true. Do we need to zoom in a little bit? Or is that close enough? Let's see. Still working on the zoom. Maybe that's good. Okay, so just for comparison, here is yesterday's ink. That was Noodler's North African Violet, and he's quite a bit lighter. Now here is Purple Mojo. Now which one did I say this was a comparison to the other day? I can't remember. Gosh, I need to take notes on these inks. I never do, and then I always regret not having taken notes. But now this one does not have sheen, and this DC Super Violet is a dark purple that does have sheen. But still, I think the Bilberry has a touch more blue to it. I think these are both a bit more red. But of course it does have that sheen. Now here is Scribble Purple, and that one is a very dark purple with some green sheen. The Bilberry sheen is more on the orangey red side, but this ink itself is redder. This is a more blue purple. Now here is Ebony Purple. Again, that's a very dark purple with some sheen, and again, this is one of those not great swatch cards. It's hard to see the sheen. I know it's there, but I would say this is much closer to Scribble Purple. So both of these, while they might be close to each other, are definitely not close to our ink of the day. And let me see, who else do we have in here? Here is Troublemaker Purple Yam. Now this one is looking bluer than this ink or this ink, but it's not nearly as blue as Purple Yam. So that's very interesting. And again, the Purple Yam has a hint of a green halo. Can you guys see that? Ooh, so hard to show it. You can see it a little bit, but it's definitely a darker bluish purple. And who else do we have here? How about Tanzanite Sky? Well, I think that's closer. Now the Tanzanite Sky is very interesting. It mostly has a reddish sheen, but then right at the bottom of the drip here, it's green. It is solidly green. I can't remember ever seeing an ink with two colors of sheen on it. Now I'm not really able to show that reddish sheen very well, but it's up here around this dark area. There's kind of a red halo. Gosh, it's so hard to see that. But then the bottom of it down here is just green. So that's very interesting. But I would say that that is closer to the Bilberry. That dark bluish purple with some red sheen. There's Monbado's hat, much redder. Murasaki, much redder. And who else do we have here? There's Diamine Violet, and that is along the blue lines, but much lighter. And there's Hayabusa, definitely a redder purple with some green sheen. Kind of closer to the DC Super Violet, but definitely not close to our ink of the day. So is that about it? Is that about as close as we're gonna get? Let's see. Well, ooh, here is Robert Oster Dragon's Night. So that is a very dark bluish purple with some red sheen. So I think that might be very close. Here is Private Reserve Tanzanite. He's a bit lighter than all of these guys. And there is Sherowite, which is that dark bluish purple. He's got some red sheen though, but I don't really feel like he's close to any of these. And let me see. Here's a different swatch card I did for Tanzanite Sky. So I would say this is actually darker than Bilberry, a darker purple, but it still has that red sheen. So all three of these are deep purples with red sheen. And of course, here's Azurite, which is a darker purple, not quite as dark as these guys, but with green sheen. So I would say one of these two inks would be our closest match to the ink of the day. It's hard to tell though. They're pretty close to each other, but I think they're a bit darker than Bilberry. So Bilberry was looking really dark, but now next to these guys, he's looking a bit lighter. But not too far off. Okie dokie. Well, let's take a look at our calendar square and see if that has dried a little bit. Boy, it sure was wet. And look at that pretty galaxy washi tape. Ooh, very nice. Well, I'm trying to pull it off carefully so I don't tear my book. I remember reading a review of a washi tape on Amazon one time, and somebody gave it a really bad review because it wasn't sticky. I tend not to engage in online arguments with people, so I didn't comment on her review. But obviously, the poor child did not know that washi tape is not supposed to be sticky. If you need some Scotch tape, then just use Scotch tape. Don't use washi tape. It's not the same. Ooh, well, I am seeing some sheen on that square. And again, it's hard to get it to show on the camera. It's just not showing. But there is definitely orange sheen all over that square. And I'm looking at the other ones now. There's a little bit of sheen showing up on these guys. So it's very interesting. It's interesting to see them all together. I mean, this is the range of the color purple. I've got a little bit of everything. I've got reddish purples and bluish purples. I've got light ones. I've got dark ones. I've got sheeners and non-sheeners. Really fun. All right. Well, I think that will do it for today. So I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope you are enjoying your pens and inks, and please feel free to share with me what you've been using lately, and hopefully I will see you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.